You know, sometimes a single comment in a courtroom can just change everything. And right now in Oklahoma, a massive legal battle is playing out between the state's biggest home insurer, State Farm, and its top lawyer. And it all boils down to a really simple question. What happens after a hailstorm smacks your roof? Well, the answer is anything but simple, and it could end up changing the rules for insurance claims for all of us.
Every big story like this has a flashpoint. You know, that one moment where everything just ignites. And for this one, it all happened during a super tense courtroom exchange. So, let's jump right into the action. Okay, just imagine hearing this. It's November 25th, 2025. And a lawyer for State Farm says this, directly to another law firm. Now this firm, Wittenberg, they'd been suing State Farm for a bunch of different homeowners, basically saying the company was systematically cheating them on roof damage claims. State Farm's lawyer was trying to make a point, right? He was saying, hey, you're just a private firm. You are not the voice of the people.
Well, wow, that comment turned out to be more on the nose than he could have ever imagined, because just 9 days later, the actual Attorney General of Oklahoma, a guy named Gentner Drummond, did exactly what State Farm's lawyer said his opponents couldn't do. He stepped in, officially, and just like that, this whole thing blew up from a series of private lawsuits into a huge deal for the entire state.
So, to really get why the Attorney General made such a dramatic move, we gotta rewind and look at the backstory. And honestly, as one source put it, it reads like something straight out of a John Grisham novel. We're talking secret internal programs and billions of dollars on the line.
And at the dead center of all these allegations is this one internal program. According to the lawsuits, this Hail Focus initiative wasn't some plan to improve customer service. No, it was a strategy designed to do one thing and one thing only: slash the amount of money State Farm had to pay out for wind and hail claims.
And the goal they allegedly set was, well, it was huge. The lawsuits claim that back in 2020, State Farm set this internal target to cut their payments on wind and hail claims by a staggering 50%. I mean, think about that. That's not a small tweak. That's a complete overhaul of how they were handling these claims.
So why is this such a big deal in Oklahoma specifically? Well, because State Farm isn't just another insurance company there. They are the big one. They control nearly a third of the entire homeowners insurance market. So when a company with that much power makes a change like this, it doesn't just create a few ripples. It creates a tidal wave that slams a huge chunk of the state's homeowners. The lawsuits allege this whole initiative saved State Farm billions. And to keep the program under wraps, the company was supposedly paying out massive settlements to any homeowners who sued them. And get this number, $3 million, that was the settlement for just one case. There were more than 125 others just like it.
So here's the real heart of the conflict, the massive gap between the promise and the alleged practice. Homeowners are paying their premiums every month, thinking they have full replacement cost coverage. But the lawsuit says that behind the scenes, State Farm was using these secret internal rules to deny or underpay those exact claims, basically violating the very contract they were selling.
Now, when the Attorney General decided to jump in, it wasn't just for show. He used a rare and really powerful legal authority to join the fight, not just for one homeowner, but for everyone in Oklahoma. And this is the date it all changed. When the AG's office filed to intervene, they were making a huge statement. They were saying this is no longer about individual arguments. The state argued that what State Farm was allegedly doing threatened the entire insurance market and the financial security of its citizens.
The legal tool he used to do this is called parens patriae. It's a Latin term, and it literally means parent of the country. And it gives the state this incredible power to act like a guardian for its citizens when they can't protect themselves from some kind of widespread harm. By using this, the Attorney General basically elevated the whole case from a private fight into a public crusade.
And the accusations they're throwing are incredibly serious. We're talking way beyond just a simple breach of contract. The state is alleging deceptive trade practices, consumer protection violations, and even RICO. Yeah, RICO, the same law that's typically used to go after organized crime. They're arguing that State Farm's actions were basically a pattern of racketeering.
So why does a legal fight in an Oklahoma courtroom matter to you, no matter where you live? Well, because this whole story connects directly to the roof over your head and the trust you put in your own insurance company. To really get the real-world impact of all this, you have to talk to the people on the ground. Companies like Skyline Roofing in Oklahoma, they're on the front lines of this. They're the ones who are actually up on the roofs after a storm, seeing the damage with their own eyes, and then having to deal with the insurance adjusters.
And this is what homeowners are really up against. Roofers say they're seeing obvious widespread hail damage that absolutely should mean a full roof replacement. But instead, the adjuster's estimates come back and they ignore the damage, or they blame it on the roof's age, or they offer to replace just a few shingles. And that leaves homeowners with a leaky roof and a claim that's been denied.
So, where does all this go from here? Well, honestly, the future is pretty uncertain. The Attorney General jumping in has definitely escalated the fight, but the final outcome? That is far from decided.
Let's just quickly recap the key moments, right? It all kicks off in 2020 with this alleged hail focus initiative. Then, for the next 3 years, that leads to over 125 of these secret settlements. By August of 2025, you can feel the tension rising between state officials. And then you have that fateful courtroom comment in November, which led directly to the Attorney General's big move in December.
And there's another fascinating little story happening in the background here. This potential clash between two of the state's top watchdogs. You've got the Attorney General stepping in to protect consumers, and then you have the Insurance Commissioner, who normally regulates the industry and is now facing tough questions about their oversight of skyrocketing insurance rates. How that tension between them plays out could be really, really crucial.
And what's the end goal here? It's about so much more than just money. I mean, yes, the AG is seeking penalties and wants to recover the profits that State Farm allegedly made from this whole thing. But the big one, the critical part, is that they are demanding structural reform, a fundamental change to how State Farm handles claims so that this can't happen again.
So what should you, as a homeowner, take away from all this? Well, the experts on the ground, folks like Skyline Roofing, have some pretty clear advice. First, never ever assume a denial from your insurance company is the last word. Always get a second opinion from a licensed roofer you trust. Document everything, and I mean everything. Photos, notes, reports, and just stay alert, because cases like this one could end up leading to some major changes for all of us.
Which really leaves us with one last critical question. This case forces us to ask, when a market is dominated by just a few massive players, who is ultimately responsible for making sure things are fair? Is it the company's job to police itself? Is it the government's job to enforce the rules? Or does the burden fall on every single one of us, as consumers, to fight for ourselves? The answer that comes out of Oklahoma might just set a new precedent for everyone.